Hey guys, it's Ashley, a scrapping nerd, and I'm back with a layout for my vintage to modern series where I take my vintage style papers and ephemera and use them in a different way. So I'm starting with this brown paper here, and I knew that I wanted to mat the layout, and so I'm going to cut the paper, but because of that white kind of line around the paper, I needed to do all four sides. And the funny thing is, in the end, you can't even tell. But this was at the beginning of the layout, so I wanted it to be even. And I wanted to have that paper have that black mat around it. And I don't gut anything because these are papers from the paper pad, and so they're really thin. And so if you haven't seen my kit, go ahead and check out my kit share video, which I will link below in the description box. But all the papers and come from this paper pad, and so they're really thin. And so I was able to layer them on top without having to gut them. And so here I knew I wanted to fold over the paper, and at first I thought I wanted to fold it horizontal, but in the end I will do this kind of diagonal fold. And like I was saying, because the papers are so thin, I can just glue those papers together and then fold it over. And I went with that black brick pattern instead of the white polka dots. And because of the thin paper, when you cut it, you can really see that white core of the paper. So I used the black distress ink to go around all the edges of the paper so that you don't see that white core. And so here I'm just cutting down because I wanted the top paper to also show the mat of the layout. I didn't want it to cover the bottom part of that. But here's where I'm just folding over my triangle or my corner here that I want. And I really like that it has that black brick to it. It really just kind of pops off the page. And I'll do the same, kind of go around with that ink, the black soot ink, just to cover that white core. And I couldn't decide if I wanted my flap to be flat or if I wanted it to kind of pop up off the page. And so that's where I was kind of messing with it, but I figure once I get, the stuff on the page, I can decide then. And so I'm using pictures from California Adventure when my husband and I went, and it's a picture of us in front of the Walt Disney and Mickey that they have at California Adventure, and then it's a picture of just me with the statue as well. And at first I thought I wanted them both in the right corner here, but I wanted to cut down this photo, and once I made this photo smaller, I didn't think it looked so good, and so I decided to put that photo up in my little flap area, because originally I just wanted to have that flap and kind of fill it with a whole bunch of ephemera, but I really like how this turned out, and having the picture kind of peek behind the flap turned out really good. And so I have this, I think it's a Project Life card, and I don't do Project Life, but I have these kind of cards laying around, and I either, get them with Tuesday Morning, or I find them in my travels. And I really like them because they're thicker, and so they make really good tags and things like that. And so I wanted to make a tag using it, and then I felt like the picture kind of blended in, so I used one of the 6x6 papers from the paper pad that's in my kit and made a photo mat with it. And I had that photo corner because that tag already came with rounded corners. And so here I'm just going to make my tag hole, and so I'm using my ruler to measure out the center of the tag, and this punch that I'm going to use is like a smaller circle punch, and so it punches out a circle. And then I have this ring punch, and I don't know what those are called, but I punch it out of the craft paper, and it's the perfect size to cover that hole for the punch, and it just kind of finishes off the hole where I'm going to put the tag. And so I have this string, and it's kind of a stiff string. It's not my favorite, but I didn't want to add like a bow or anything to this one. I just kind of wanted the string to kind of hang around in that corner with all the ephemera that I'm going to put in there. And so because it was stiff, I figured that would work out really well. And I ended up just using like a little piece of washi tape just to tape it to the back of the tag just so it'll stay down, because like I said, it's a really stiff kind of weird string that I have, and who knows where that came from. And so you're going to see me just start to kind of pile stuff in this little corner here behind the flap. And I really liked these green tags, but I don't end up keeping them because I feel like they just stick out and they draw your eye straight to them, because there's no other color like that on the layout. And I had tried and put some over by the photo of my husband and I, but it still just didn't work out. So those are actually going to leave the corner there. And then you could see the stuff in this bowl that I showed you in my kit shares, just stuff from the paper pad that I cut out, and I'm just, closely cutting it better here. And I thought I was going to put that Life is a Grand Adventure, Go Live It, and the suitcase on the little flap, but I will end up putting that also in the corner. This corner here gets really full with ephemera, which, I'm a more is more scrapbooker, so I love it, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's very eclectic, but it's just my style. I really like that. And so I finally decided to mat the photo of my husband and I thought I was going to use that polka dot. I really tried to use that polka dot, but because of it being like a lighter background with the polka dots, it just did not look right. So I matted the photo in craft paper and then a black paper, and I think that turned out really well. And here is this little suitcase, and you're not going to even know that it's a suitcase when I'm done. It just kind of adds a little flair to, add more stuff in that corner, and I like how that looked. And this Life is a Grand Adventure, it kind of just peeks out from behind that tag. So I'm really liking how that looks. I did cheat a little bit, and I went in my Disney theme bin and pulled out these little black Mickeys that I had, and they were actually photo corners, but I just pulled off the black Mickey head there. And you'll see I'll also take some words from a Simple Stories Say Cheese sticker book. So I cheated just a little smidge because those weren't in my kit, but I felt like they worked good on this layout. And I used one of those Tim Holtz photograph cards and just flipped it over, and then I'm adding some stuff from the kit that I have, just some random things to kind of build up a nice little cluster here next to the photo, because I felt like the photo was just out here by itself since I had so much in the little flap. And so I really like how that looks. I like having the frame kind of frame the Mickey head. I think that looks really cute. And then I knew I wanted to have a little bit of spot for journaling. I haven't journaled on these yet because my album isn't done, and I'll go back through and say what I need to say when the album is finished, kind of what I haven't said, if I journal at all. I'm not very big on the journaling, so I leave my journaling spots, but then I make them so that if I don't want to say anything, it still looks really cute with the layout. And so I decided on the title, Happy Together. You saw that I also had Making Memories in this gold scripty font here. But I liked the Happy Together, and there is that sticker that's up there in the flap that says Making Memories already. So I thought Happy Together worked really well. And it's a small title. It's just down here. It's very subtle. But I like how that turned out. And like I said, there's some room there should I decide to journal. And I really like that paper clip that says Disney. I've had those forever, and so it's nice to get one of those used up. Here I'm putting that little black heart because on my photo mat I used a scrap paper, and so there's a little blip in that corner. And so the heart covers it up, and it just says Best Day Ever. And so I really thought that was cute. And those hearts are some foam hearts from a Thickers word pack or whatever. Here's where I use some words from the Say Cheese Simple Stories sticker book here, but they had that kind of off-white cream color to them. So that one says woo. I put one that said kids of all ages. The one that I put in the frame by the photo says today was awesome. This one says let's go. So I really just thought that it added some fun sayings to the layout because it still is a Disney layout. done in with all my vintage ephemera, but I needed to have some sort of Disney-esque type things on it because I am such a themed scrapbooker. But that is the layout. Thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed to my channels. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons below. Make sure you check out the playlist with the vintage to modern. You can see the kit share and my videos. And everyone have a great day. Bye.